Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, President, General Manager of the Carolina Hurricanes, Don Waddell. It finally happened. The lease agreement that I feel like we've been talking about for 10 some odd years has finally gone through. You got to be excited about moving forward now that this new lease agreement and development has been signed.
Yeah, we signed the term sheet, and now we have to get into the long form. But the major points have all been negotiated, and we're excited about it. As you said, there's been a lot of time and effort that's gone into this, and a lot of people doubting whether Tom Dundon wanted to stay in this market, and he's proven he's putting a lot of money into this deal, both on the renovations and on the development side. And I think it proves that we feel that Raleigh's become a great hockey market and can continue for the next 20 plus years.
You're not going to miss the Quebec rumors? You're not going to, Canadian media coming up with some sort of relocation drama? You're going to miss that?
Yeah, we were talking about that this morning. Every time Montreal comes to town, they always have that one guy that asks when we're going to be moving there. So that is off the table, which it was never on the table, by the way, because that's not the place I would pick anyways. But nothing against Quebec, but no, we're all good here.
So I am curious. I want to go back to May of 2022. And NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman has a visit. Obviously, everything's leading up to the Stadium Series. And I feel like everything that I've read, everybody that I've talked to, kind of points to the commissioner being here as reigniting these conversations. So if you could take us back to that time, what exactly was the message? What was the conversation about this market and the future of this market?
Well, I think the commissioner obviously plays an important role in most teams when they're negotiating lease extensions and that, and wants to tell the CA in particular who we met with that he's committed to making Raleigh a great market, but we also are in a building at that time that was 22 years old that we need to take some steps to bring our building up to today's date. So I think the message was heard loud and clear, and we can say it all we want, but when it comes to the commissioner, I think it carries a lot more weight. So that started. I mean, we had been talking for the last year before that.
Yeah,
that took everything. Bill Bisley took over as the chairman of the Centennial Authority, and he said, we got to go make this happen. And he's put a lot of time and effort to do that. So I can't thank him enough. But the commissioner, anytime the commissioner shows up in town, I think that's a positive thing.
You also have an owner that wants to do something with that area. I mean, I've lived here since 1995. I remember when the place was being built and all of this land that was supposed to be for usage. My old high school moved there, Cardinal Gibbons. So that was an interesting turn of events. And it just kind of sat there for a long time. And I guess this goes back to 2018 when Tom Dundon takes over. And unlike Karmanos, wants to do something with that land finally. But you come to find out there's a lot of complications that go into developing that land. So I am curious, you've worked with Tom Dundon, the NHL franchise owner, but this is a guy who made a lot of money in development. So what about his development side are you excited about to see?
Well, Tom's got great vision. He's done projects mostly in Texas, as we know. He's done some other projects in Colorado and that, but he has a vision, and when Tom gets excited about something, that's good for all of us because that means he wants to get it done. And the first thing was getting a commitment from the city and the county to $300 million for the renovation of the current building. That was number one, and getting our lease done, and then the development came hand in hand with that. So Tom's excited about it. This area is very fortunate to have Tom as an owner. When he took over the franchise, it wasn't in the best financial shape, and we turned that around. I mean, playoffs last 5 years, our division last 3 years, and Tom's put money up to give us the best chance at getting the best players possible. And I think that gets lost sometimes because he doesn't live here. Mm-hmm. But obviously, hopefully those remarks go away now that he's made the commitment for the next minimum of 20 plus years.
You say he gets excited about things. He wants to follow through on it. I feel the same way about the Stadium Series. When Giglio and I talked to him during that event back in February, he was adamant about bringing another one. He wants this more often. So it's not lost on me that in this new term sheet that there is plans for another outdoor game. Is this nebulous plans, or are there actual, get the wheels in motion for another Stadium Series event?
Yeah, no, the commissioner made a commitment that we would get one in the next 5 years. Okay. Give or take, depending on what happens. But those talks, it's not going to happen in the next couple of years, nor do we want it to happen in the next couple of years. we need a little. It takes a few years to organize and get it going, but certainly what we did here at Carter Finley this past February, March, whenever it was outstanding. I mean, it showed, I think, everybody, not only in this area, but around the whole country, that Raleigh will support an NHL team and support it well. As you know, it's the fastest team to ever sell out their Stadium Series games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was just a great event. I don't know if anything could have gone different for the event, and we're very pleased to be a part of it.
I think parking was the big thing that came out of that Stadium Series event. Not that parking isn't an issue necessarily on a night in, night out basis. And I guess that's another aspect of this that might get lost on things. There's a quality of life improvement that you guys want to make with PNC Arena. So what was the biggest sell or the biggest thing to overcome when it came to getting people on the same page to get people in and out of that area?
Yeah, we're working with DOT and the governor's office right now on ingress and degress. You know, really, there's only two ways into the building, because you can come in off Edwards Mill or Trinity, you still end up with a four-way stop sign, and the same thing coming in off Blue Ridge. So that's a big focus right now. There's going to be money allocated. We've done a traffic study. So that's going to be, you know, you can do all you want on the property, but people can't get in and out. You know,
right.
We're going to lose interest pretty quickly. So lots of plans. Again, everything we're doing right now that we've done to date on the development, on the renovations, it's all a vision. Now we're at today, now that vision can start to turn into you know, drawings and so forth, which will take some time to get to. But you know, this was an important day to get through, getting the lease agreed to, and obviously getting the city county support on the hospitality tax to get the $300 million to renovate the current PNC Arena.
Don Waddell, President General Manager of the Carolina Hurricanes, joining us on the Heister Automotive Group Hotline. All right, let's get to some hockey. I didn't see anything in the term sheet about more defensemen. Was that in the term sheet? You need any more? Was that part of the announcement today?
I think we've got our surplus of defensemen now. I think we've got 5 right shots and 4 left shots. So hopefully we feel like we're going to be in good shape there. Hopefully some of those defensemen can play forward.
Yes. So I was curious about that. It's been a very active offseason, a very newsy offseason for you, whether it's the signing of Sebastian Aho to a long-term deal, something that you, Tom Dundon, everybody talked about making a priority. That's been knocked out. But you were also attached to some free agency. You were attached to some trades. There was a report that somebody was coming until there was a change in an agent. Then it wouldn't happen. You were tied to a guy that was supposed to come, but then didn't. So from your perspective, you know, what is really happening behind the scenes versus what spills out onto social media or from NHL insiders trying to explain who could be going where?
Yeah, well, I think some of the players that were reported that they're coming here, we never had to deal with any of them. I mean, we were talking with the agents, and as you said, the one switched agents, but that could have an effect on, you know, at that time we were, you know, there's this thing called the salary cap, and if we didn't have a salary cap, we would get every player in the league that we possibly could. I know Tom would spend his money that way,
right?
But we had a certain amount of money, and it didn't change. Didn't matter who was representing the player; it wasn't going to change from agent to agent. And, you know, it's my job as the general manager to try to stay involved in as many things as possible if it's going to make our team better. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we probably hang around the hoop in more deals than, you know, I can't always say for what my counterparts are doing, but it seems like every deal that happens out there, we either know about it or we're involved in it. And that's the part that is important to Tom and to me, to stay in touch. Doesn't mean so many deals we're not going to be able to do for various reasons, cap and everything else.
Sure.
But you try to stay involved in case you can make your team better and find a way to make it all work.
I got the sense there was urgency with Aho and his deal. And a lot of people peg him as the next captain of the Carolina Hurricanes. I know there was a level of urgency with Jordan Staal to get his last contract, make him a Cane until he decides to retire. What's the urgency level, or where are you on, say, Brett Pesci, who has been tied to a lot of speculation as to what you're going to do this offseason, you know, tied to bringing other guys in? Where does that stand? Yeah,
we had lots of talks in early July, probably through the 15th or 20th of July, and now they've gone, which these things always do. They go quiet for the next month of August. And,
right.
You know, we get training camp after Labor Day and get in training camp. You know, if there's a deal to be made there, it'll heat back up. But I've found through my history as a GM, it's hard to go early because players are looking at the cap. They see the cap going up next year. It goes up $4.5 million. Everybody wants that $4.5 million. I always already took $1.5 million of it. I said it goes up $4.5 million, not for one player. It goes up 4.5 for 22 players. So, we've had at least discussions. Both him and Shea have expressed interest in staying here.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the things we got Orlov and signed him to a 2-year deal. Because if everything fell apart and we couldn't keep one of them or both of them, we felt with Orlov and Slavin and Bernsey, and a couple of the other young guys, Chatfield, that we could continue on and not miss a beat. But saying that, we'd still like to bring both those guys, if we possibly can, back.
Is there any change? I mean, it's like you said, it's August. We haven't even started the season yet. You haven't even gotten a preseason yet. But let's say contract negotiations with Brett Pesci don't go anywhere and he's just kind of playing things out. You have talked about this with us. Tom Dundon has talked about this with us as it relates to the trade deadline. You make your big moves now in the offseason. You're not necessarily looking to get too crazy at the trade deadline, mortgage the future, all that kind of stuff. With the way contracts seem to be going into this year and the cap and everything else, do you envision a change in philosophy depending on how the year goes?
I don't think so. And I think that's one of the reasons where we signed some of these defensemen right now, because at the deadline, you're always talking about adding depth defensemen, adding guys that can play in the league. And, it's right now, it doesn't cost us assets. It costs us cash.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if one or two guys end up in the minors for a short period of time or even a long period of time, it's a safety valve for us, and it costs us some cash. But I don't think our philosophy is ever really going to change on the trade deadline. I mean, again, if you're trading for players that you can extend or have time left, that's way different than just renting players for high picks and then hoping you can keep them afterwards.
Well, I'll save this interview for next year. We'll see where things go. No, I'm kidding. I am curious though. We joked about the defenseman. You don't have a minor league affiliate right now. So how is this? There seems to be some confusion. Even I'm a little bit confused how you're going to make this work without an AHL affiliate, because you even have 3 goalies, including Kochetkov, and they have to go somewhere and play. So how is that going to work out?
Yeah, we've got a couple of deals with NHL teams right now to put a few players here and there, and we're continuing to talk to teams. Obviously, some of these might not come down until we get into training camp, but you always have injuries. If not for us, but I mean other teams, I don't think it'll be a little bit of a tap dance for a while, but at the end, I think we'll be fine. We left some of our best prospects back in Europe this year, which they play in great leagues, and whether it's Sweden or Finland in the elite league, so their development won't hurt. It's not a great situation. We kind of didn't have a choice on this, so we got to make the best of it and try to plan what we're going to do for the following year. But at the end of the day, we'll find place for all these guys by the time the season starts.
I was going to say for the following year, my guess is you don't want to do this 2 years in a row, right?
No.
Okay.
We want to be able to run it. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not ideal. We got forced into this decision.
Okay.
But it's not the best for development either. We want to have our own coach. We want to have our development guys. I mean, our development coaches will still be able to see the guys and talk to the guys. It's just, it's nice when they're in one place and they could spend, a few days there and see all the guys. Now there'll be a little more travel, but we'll make it work.
Okay. Gotcha. Don Waddell, president, general manager, Carolina Hurricanes. I saw the News and Observer snap a photo. I think it was Robert Willett who took a photo of you and Boo Corrigan, the athletics director at NC State, shaking hands when the Centennial Authority was all said and done and the thing got signed. There wasn't no sort of like tailgating quips or jokes that were made between, because I know this has been a thing with State fans. They're really worried about their parking spots, Don.
Yeah. No, Boo and I, first of all, the relationship with NC State's never been better, led by the chancellor and Kevin Howell and Boo. Boo and I talk all the time. We're on the same page. We're not competition. We're here to help each other. And, there's a lot of things in this enhancement that is going to not only help the Hurricanes, but help NC State. Recruitment's become such a big thing in college sports, not just for their basketball team, even their football team, though. If you have a development here in property, it's going to be a nice attraction for players. So, the tailgating, people are getting all excited. It's going to be nice. It's going to be better. it's going to take a lot of time. I mean, we're talking about phase one, you know, you're probably, you know, 3 to 5 years out at least. So I wouldn't have people get too worried about it right now. We know how important it is. You know, you talk about NC State tailgate, but we're worried about our tailgate too.
Yeah, tailgates, right.
We have lots of people that come here early, come here on a weekend, 9 o'clock, they're up there roasting pigs.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's important to both organizations, and we're going to make sure we do the best job we can to make sure that everybody's taken care of, and they really appreciate the space that they're going to be able to tailgate in.
Don, we appreciate the time, and congrats.
Always a pleasure. Happy with you guys. Thank you.